The greatest form of power is often not in what you say, but in what you choose not to say. In a world where everyone is eager to share their next move, you work their dreams, their setbacks, and even their private battles, there lies an uncommon path, the path of discretion. It is the path that requires discipline, maturity, and an unshakable commitment to yourself. That path says start now, and stop telling everyone what happens in your life. Why is this so important? Because the moment you speak your goals aloud to others, especially too soon, you invite energy, both good and bad, into something that is still fragile. A dream in its early stage is like a seed. You don't expose it to the storm. You nurture it in silence, water it with consistent action, and give it time to take root. If you keep digging it up to show others, it will never grow. You will crush the very thing you are trying to build. When you talk too much about your plans, you confuse the act of talking with the act of doing. Talking gives you a false sense of progress. While they watch you work, it tricks your brain into believing you've already taken a step forward, when in reality, you've only wasted breath. You work, real movement happens when no one's watching. The world doesn't need to hear about it before you've made it real. Another thing to remember, not everyone wants to see you win. This is a difficult truth. People may smile, they may nod, but not every ear is a safe place for your vision. Some will judge, some will question, and some will silently hope you fail. By telling them everything, you give them access to your vulnerabilities. You allow their opinions, you work their doubts, their insecurities to mix with your process, and that is dangerous. It's hard enough to stay consistent when it's just you. Don't multiply the resistance by letting in voices that don't belong. Privacy is not secrecy. It is strategy. It means you are putting your head down, doing the work, and showing the world only the outcome. It's a sacred kind of self-respect. When you move this way, you preserve your power. You stay in control. You avoid unnecessary distractions. You become a force that cannot be manipulated because no one knows where you're going until you've already arrived. So start now. Begin that project. Make that shift. Build that new life. But do it quietly. Let your discipline be louder than your declarations. Let your work speak before your words ever do. Let them see results, not promises. In a world addicted to showing off, become addicted to showing up. No announcements, no explanations, just execution. That's where the real transformation lies. In silence, in focus, and in relentless action that doesn't need to be seen to be real. Silence is one of the most powerful habits you can develop on the journey to success. When you stop telling everyone what happens in your life, you begin to guard your energy, protect your goals, and focus your mind. Many people think sharing every detail is a form of connection, but in reality, it often becomes a trap. A trap that drains your momentum, invites criticism, and places you under pressure that you never needed in the first place. When you declare your dreams too early, you expose them to the world before they've taken root inside you. Before your belief is strong enough, before your discipline is deep enough, you allow outside voices to shape something that should only be guided by your internal compass. If someone laughs at your dream, doubts your capability, or questions your decision, it plants a seed of doubt in your mind. That seed may grow and slowly begin to choke the life out of your determination. Understand this, your vision is yours. It was placed in your heart, not theirs. You work. That means it's your responsibility to protect it, feed it, and build it, not broadcast it. When you move in silence, you work, you free yourself from the burden of constantly explaining yourself. You stop seeking approval. You work. You stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're on the right path. You give yourself the freedom to fail, to learn, and to grow in private. And that is priceless. People often talk about their plans because they crave validation. But success doesn't require applause. It requires effort. It requires focus. It requires consistency in the dark, not recognition in the spotlight. When you're busy telling everyone what you're doing, you're not doing it. You're spending time shaping the narrative instead of shaping your future. You're building a story, not a structure. Moreover, not everyone deserves access to your process. Some people only want to know what's happening in your life to compare it to theirs, to gossip, work, or to inject their negativity into your progress. Keeping things to yourself isn't selfish. It's wise. You are not obligated to explain your every move. You work. You are not required to update people on your growth. You owe your energy to the work, not to the audience. You work. There's immense power in starting now and saying nothing, in waking up each day and choosing discipline over discussion, in showing up without telling the world why or how, because one day you will arrive at the destination you've been working toward. And when that day comes, your results will speak louder than any words you could have said along the way. You won't need to prove anything. Your life will reflect the strength, your work, patience, and commitment you invested while the world wasn't watching. That is the mark of true power. Quiet growth, loud results. They watch. You work. Every time you speak of what you're going to do before you've done it, you're borrowing power from the action without ever earning it. While the human mind is wired to feel reward from mere acknowledgement. So when you tell someone about your next big move, a business idea, a personal change, a transformation in progress, your brain registers approval, even if it's just a nod or compliment. That small recognition feels good, but it's dangerous while they watch, because in that moment, you've received a false sense of completion, yet nothing has been accomplished. This is why the most effective individuals operate quietly. They are not secretive out of fear, but out of strength. They understand a sacred principle. When the vision is still forming, it must be shielded. Not every idea needs exposure. Not every intention needs to be announced. Most dreams require solitude and attention, not spotlight and commentary. Letting people into your private process gives them power over your emotions. If they criticize, you may begin to doubt. If they cheer too early, you might get comfortable. Both reactions create imbalance. Your focus, which should be locked in on execution, shifts to the response of others. And with that, your inner compass weakens. You work. You start doing things not because they're right for you, but because you feel watched. That is a dangerous way to live and a weak foundation to build upon. Learn to value silence. There is unmatched strength in restraint. When you resist the urge to talk and instead commit to doing, you increase your chances of success tenfold. Quiet effort has no distractions. It allows you to work without comparison, without explanation, without interference. It protects your energy and ensures that every ounce of your focus goes toward creation, not narration. Let's be clear. Privacy is not about isolation. It's about intention. It's choosing who has earned the right to know what and when. You work. It's deciding that your progress is sacred, not public theater. It's making peace with the fact that growth doesn't need an audience to be valid. In fact, the fewer eyes on your climb, the stronger your grip becomes. You're not performing, you're building, and that makes all the difference. Start now. You work. Not with another post, not with another speech, not with another promise. Start with quiet, disciplined, relentless action. Give your goals the dignity of privacy. Let them evolve without interruption. Let your future surprise those who expected your silence to be weakness. You work. You don't need to tell the world what's happening in your life. The right people will see it when it's ready. The wrong ones don't deserve to know. Protect your peace. Guard your goals. Speak less. Do more. And when the time is right, let your success be so undeniable that words are unnecessary. While they watch you work, the reason most people never reach their full potential isn't because they lack talent or opportunity. It's because they leak energy through unnecessary conversation. They speak too soon, too often, and to too many people about things that should remain private. You work. There is nothing more self-sabotaging than revealing your plans to the world before those plans are mature. Your ideas need nurturing, not exposure. They need effort, not explanations. They need focus, not feedback. When you tell everyone what's happening in your life, you unintentionally place your journey under a spotlight it's not ready for. That spotlight creates pressure. It creates performance. You work. You start moving for the sake of being seen, rather than for the sake of progress. You begin crafting an image, instead of building a reality. The applause you receive may feel like momentum, but it is only noise. And noise, though loud, does not move you forward. Stop handing over the steering wheel of your life to outside opinions. Your direction, your dreams, while they watch you work, and your development don't need confirmation from anyone else. The more people you tell, while they watch, the more opinions you'll gather, and most of them won't serve you. Some will cast doubt. Some will inject fear. Some will offer misguided advice based on their own limitations. None of that belongs in your journey. Silence, however, you work, keeps your path clean and your energy protected. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. The only thing you need is a quiet commitment to yourself, a decision that you will start. Not talk, not post, not announce, but start. And you'll do it with humility, discipline, and consistency. You'll build without broadcasting. You'll grow without validation. And eventually, you work. You'll arrive somewhere extraordinary, not because you talked about it, but because you acted when no one was watching. People underestimate the strength it takes to stay silent. They think that if you're not sharing, you're not doing anything. But in reality, the most powerful transformations are often invisible. Real success doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to convince anyone. It just needs time. You work, and the more quietly you move, the more power you preserve for the work itself. Let others wonder what you're doing. Let them underestimate you. You work. Let them assume nothing's happening. And while they're busy talking, you'll be busy building. Your silence will become your shield. You work. Your action will become your voice. And one day, when you reveal what you've created, they'll realize they were never meant to be part of the process. Only witnesses to the result. Choose privacy. Choose focus. You work. Choose the power of keeping your goals close to your chest and your actions loud only in their results. That's where your true strength lies. Not in what you say, but in what you do behind closed doors when no one else is looking. One of the most overlooked principles of personal power is restraint. The ability to hold back, to remain silent, and to focus inward while the world shouts for attention. In a time when people rush to share every detail of their lives, every step of their journey, every thought and move, the person who learns to stay quiet and work privately gains a distinct advantage. It's not about being secretive. You work. It's about being strategic. It's about protecting the energy you need to build something meaningful before it's ready to be seen. When you constantly talk about your goals, your plans, and your next steps, you dilute their power. You invite distraction and interference. Every time you speak of what you're going to do, you open the door for opinions, some helpful, most not. You allow other people's fears, doubts, and judgments to enter your space. And even if you're mentally strong, that energy can chip away at your clarity. Over time, those voices may start to sound like your own. There's a silent dignity in keeping your life private, in moving without announcement. When no one knows what you're doing, you are free. Free from expectations. Free from pressure. Free to change direction without explanation. Free to fail and learn without the world watching. You give yourself room to experiment, to stumble, to grow. All on your own terms. And that freedom creates real growth. The truth is, you don't owe anyone a front row seat to your journey. Your life isn't a performance. It's a process. You work, and not every chapter needs to be read out loud. The people who matter will notice when it's time. The rest never needed to know. Your peace depends on your ability to stay focused, and focus thrives in silence. You gain power when you stop explaining and start executing. Start now, without sharing, without seeking permission, without waiting for someone else to understand. Take the first step quietly. Then take another. Build your habits, refine your skills, and commit to your vision. Not to show others what you're capable of, but to show yourself. Because in the end, you work. That's the only voice that truly matters, the one inside you. The one that knows what you're here to do and why you must do it. Let your success become the story. Let your results do the talking. Speak only when there's something undeniable to say. And even then, say less. Because the most powerful stories are the ones revealed by action, not announcement. So hold your vision close. Give it your effort, not your explanations. While they watch you work, give it your sweat, not your speech. And in time, you'll create something so strong, so real, you work, and so unshakable that the world will wonder how you did it. Without ever hearing a word, you work. One of the greatest mistakes people make on the path to transformation is talking too much and doing too little. They speak about their goals with enthusiasm. They share their plans with excitement. But then, very often, nothing materializes. Why? Because the act of talking replaces the act of doing. It satisfies a psychological need for validation and achievement, without earning either. The more you talk about what you're going to do, the less pressure you feel to actually do it. And over time, your dreams become just that, dreams, spoken but never realized. This is why the most successful individuals are usually not the loudest. They are the most focused. They understand that speaking about a goal does not build it. They know that sharing a vision too soon invites opinions, distractions, and energy leaks. So, they choose a higher path, the path of action over announcement. While they watch you work, they don't move in silence because they're unsure. They move in silence because they're determined. Because every second spent explaining is a second taken from building. There is a mental clarity that comes when you protect your process. You work. When you stop telling everyone what's happening in your life, you begin to reclaim your time, your attention, and your emotional strength. While they watch you work, you are no longer weighed down by others' expectations. You no longer seek approval for every step you take. You work. You begin to do things for the right reasons. Not for attention, not for validation, but for your growth and your vision. And this doesn't just apply to big goals. It applies to the daily disciplines that shape your life. When you decide to improve your health, start a business, develop a skill, or change your habits, do it quietly. Let your actions speak. Let your results become the message. You work. You don't need to announce that you're evolving. Your consistency will make it obvious in time. Most people are addicted to the illusion of progress. They talk to feel productive. They post to feel noticed. But real success isn't built in conversations or captions. It's built in moments of silence. While they watch you work, in daily routines, in hours of unseen effort. It's built when no one's clapping. It's built when you're tired but disciplined. You work when you're doubted but focused. When you're invisible but moving forward anyway. So start now. Start without telling the world. Start with determination so deep that it doesn't need to be heard. Let others wonder. Let them make assumptions. While they speculate, you execute. You work. While they talk, you build. And one day when you've achieved what you once only imagined, they'll realize they were never supposed to know the process, only the outcome. The most powerful transformations are born in silence. They grow in discipline, and they are revealed in excellence. Not words, not posts, not promises, but undeniable, unshakable results. Choose that path, and don't look back. You work. There comes a moment in your life when you must decide what matters more, being understood by others or being fulfilled within yourself. You work. When you constantly tell everyone what's happening in your life, what you're planning, and where you're going, you give away a piece of your power. You work. You invite noise into your clarity. You allow opinions to shape outcomes that were never theirs to influence. That's why silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. And those who understand this principle begin to walk a different path, one where peace, purpose, and progress move quietly together. You have to understand that the world is full of distractions. Everyone has an opinion, a criticism, or an unsolicited piece of advice. And the moment you start broadcasting your every move, you open the door for all of it to flood in. Suddenly, you work. Your vision doesn't feel like your own anymore. It's filtered through what others think it should be. That's the danger. That's the trap. You work. But when you choose to keep your journey private, you shield it. You give it space to grow on its own terms. You give yourself room to adapt, pivot, and even fail without the burden of being watched. That is where real strength is built. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. In the hours no one sees. In the decisions you make when no one is clapping. You don't need an audience to do great things. You just need a reason. And that reason must come from within. Many people waste years trying to prove themselves to people who were never paying attention. They post their progress. They talk about their goals. They chase external approval like it's the fuel for their dreams. But approval fades. Likes fade. Attention moves on. And when it does, you're left empty. Unless you've built something real behind the scenes. Something no one had to see to believe. Start now. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Not when the timing is perfect. Because the timing will never be perfect. You have to move when your soul calls you to. Not when the world gives you permission. And when you move, move quietly. Don't explain, justify. Don't ask for agreement. Just begin. With full focus. With inner fire. With relentless action that doesn't need to be announced. Over time, your silence will become your strength. Your consistency will become your voice. And your results will speak in a language louder than any words ever could. Those who doubted you won't matter. Those who supported you will already know. And you will have walked a path of dignity, power, and truth. A path that didn't need validation to be real. So choose silence. Choose action. Choose you work. Choose to live a life that's built, not broadcast. You work, because when your life becomes a reflection of your discipline, not your declarations, you'll realize you never needed to tell anyone what was happening, while you just needed to make it happen.